Hey, welcome in everybody. Welcome back to LTL True Crime. It is Thursday evening or Thursday night. It's past the evening. Shit. Man, this day went by quick. January 11, 2024. I want to welcome everybody into the live show. If you're here, you can chat with the live chatters on the right-hand side. And sorry, my life has just been like super crazy lately, in between working my full-time job, doing this full-time, and now, assisting and helping Aidan out as much as I can. It's been crazy. It's been crazy. A lot of phone calls and messages and emails and just making sure that things are lined up and they're straight and helping. I just want to help. That's it. Just want to help out, so we're going to do tonight. I guess everybody was like, you're going to do the Howie Carr phone call from Tim Bradl today. I said, sure, let's look at it. I didn't get to listen to it, so I'm going to organically listen to it with all of you today. We'll go through that. It's not going to be a super long live. I do have some other business that I have to get to after I do this live. So I'm like all over the place today, but I want to welcome everybody in. It's really nice to see everybody here. Yes, thank you so much, Court. I did see that. I've been, let's see. Awesome. I've been working with his team. They asked me to do some guest hosting right now, and I am happy to do that. And we will be doing some events like once a week on his channel to keep his channel active and maybe just give some updates as to what's going on. And I got it. And to also just help out and raise funds for his defense fund, So tomorrow night we're going to watch Framed on his channel, and maybe I'll pull up some other things that we can look at maybe from the past, have a couple of laughs. It'd be nice to get some humor on that channel again. And I'm glad to help out. And I think it's been a huge honor. It's been a huge honor to ask to help out. So I'm really looking forward to that tomorrow, and it should be a great time. Okay, let's get into this tonight. So first, what I wanted to do is pull up this Facebook post that I saw today, perusing around, looking things over. And I guess the trolls are coming pretty hard about Aidan's Lexus. And maybe they're doing this because Karen Reed had a Lexus or has a Lexus, and they're trying to, implicate a bunch of bullshit. But I saw this here. You see the purchase agreement here, and it says, here's the purchase contract for the 2023 Lexus RX 350 that Aidan paid approximately $10,000 above MSRP. This should clear any ridiculous idea that Karen Reed's team or family assisted Aidan in acquiring his new car. Not only did he not get any type of deal on the car, but they gave him $1,000 for his trade. Just another BS lie that they're using to distract you from the fact that Karen Reed is innocent. I love that post. It's a great post, and it's all out there. The thing is like, I think when people hear BMW, Lexus, Mercedes, they think that this stuff is all unachievable. It's very achievable. I mean, anybody can essentially walk into a BMW dealership and they're handing those things out like candy now. Not saying that, what am I trying to say here? I'm not saying that anybody just can, but I'm just saying like, it's not that hard. I mean, they give new cars away because they want to move that inventory, and I think it's just a ridiculous and frivolous thing that's being brought up. And of course, they're just trying to keep, get all these connections that Aidan's all in with Karen and this and that. And it's complete lies. It's bullshit. We know the trolls. And, I see shit on Twitter about me now, too. It's silly. I don't even answer it. You just move on. You do your shows and fuck them. That's all I can say. But let's get into Bradl. I know he was on Howie Carr today. I want to talk about that. Obviously, we'll bring that up. We'll listen through it. Again, I haven't had the opportunity to listen to it. Completely organic here, but I did speed up to the part that he was there. We'll move through the commercials. And let's hear it. Let's hear from Bradl. Again, I was out at Turtleboy's hearing the other day. I sat in for about 45 minutes. I guess got picked on because I had joggers on that day and I wasn't properly dressed for court. And I had to explain this, that I went there with the intention 2 intentions. 1, obviously, to support Aidan. 2, to show up and support Tom because he was out there like streaming for 9 hours. I dressed warm that day because it was freezing cold out. I went in to take a leak in the courthouse. I walked by the courtroom and saw, holy shit, there's Turtleboy. There's Aidan right there. So I was looking through the small security window they have on the double doors, and I'm sitting there and I'm just kind of looking in, and a young lady came out. She left the courtroom, and as the door swung open, actually before that, the court officer kept kind of looking over his shoulder, looking through the window. Young lady came out, and the door came open, and he opened the door for me, and he looked at me and whispered and said, "Do you want to sit down?" And I said, "Sure, why not?" He said, "Come in, just take your cap off." Perfect. And everybody was in there like winter dressed. So next time I'll wear a fucking 3-piece suit for everybody. So don't think I won't, because I will. But anyway, let's move on here. Howie Carr, and listen to Tim Bradl and just see, what's some updates. Again, look at Aidan. All I can say was he was very focused, very determined that day. And it was nice to see him, and he was very observant. He was looking around, and hang on one second. Let me just take care of this. See, he was looking around. I think he was very observant. He knew, he was looking around at the people that were there to support him, and it was just really nice. And it was nice to get out there and support. So anyway, let's play Howie Carr here again. Very impromptu stream tonight. I wanted to go through this. I'm glad that everybody can join this late. If you haven't already, please smash the like button. I got about 200 peeps in here. Let's get up to at least 100 likes. I would appreciate it. All right, let's do this.
Howie Carr.
844-500-4242.
Oh, I know,
844-500-4242.
Thank you.
As you know, we've been covering the story of Aidan Kearney, a.k.a. Turtleboy. He's the blogger who's broken a lot of huge stories.
Not a blogger, it's a fucking journalist.
Massachusetts over the past few years.
Come on, Howie.
On the state police and some of the corrupt public officials, including elected officials in the city of Boston. And he's gotten involved in a murder case. Karen Reed is charged with killing her boyfriend, a Boston police officer, John O'Keefe. And Turtleboy has been trying to prove, along with the legal defense that she has, that she is not guilty of this murder. That there are other people involved. This is all involved in the town of Canton, the Norfolk County, just south of the city of Boston. And he's been fighting this, and the Norfolk County District Attorney, a fat Democrat named Michael Morrissey, has dragged him into court and accused him of witness intimidation. They appointed a special prosecutor, and he was doing well in his court cases. He had just had some decisions keeping him out of the town of Canton basically overturned in Superior Court.
Yes.
And then he was charged with assaulting a female acquaintance of his, and now he was locked up.
Thanks for being here.
In the Norfolk County House of Correction in Dedham, and he's been locked up for a while. And he has his website is still going on, tbdailynews.com, but it's not there. There's not as much stuff coming out now because he's incarcerated, and he's incarcerated for.
I can say this. I can share a little bit of this news. I do know he's been having some better days. He knows all the support and encouragement that everybody has been sending. He appreciates all the messages. All the donations that have come in to help his defense fund. I also know that he's been working out. He's been doing, I think, a bunch of push-ups and sit-ups. I don't know what it was. It was like 500 push-ups a day and 200 sit-ups a day, maybe. That's what I think I heard. But I know that, and he's been doing a lot of writing. I know that. He's been doing a lot of writing. So it's nice to get those messages out to him. I'm getting some responses, and I'm planning to have something special for you all soon. Something special for you guys soon. So stay tuned on that. I actually just got a message that he's been running. He ran 5 miles the other day. So he looked great in court the other day. It looked like he lost a little bit of weight. You can definitely tell his shoulders were toned up a little bit more. So it was just nice to see him. It was nice to see him. All right, let's go.
Supposedly, for a couple more months, and we wanted to check in with his
Yeah,
lawyer.
I'd love to get him on
because
my
we
show.
can't
It'd be
talk
great.
to Turtleboy anymore, but we wanted to talk to his lawyer, Tim Bradl, to see how he's doing and what's happening. And joining us now on the line is Tim Bradl. He's the lawyer for Aidan Kearney, aka Turtleboy. He's been a lawyer practicing for more than 30 years. He spent 11 years in the Suffolk County DA's office in the homicide unit. So he's got a good background and a good reputation. Tim Bradl, thanks for being with us here on the Howie Carr Show.
Howie, thanks so much for having me. It's a real pleasure. You know, between you and Turtleboy, you guys are in a class by yourselves, standing up to corruption, hypocrisy, tyranny, you name it. And it's a real pleasure to be here. Really, what you're doing is so important in this state. Please don't move to Florida.
Well, that's where I'm broadcasting from now, but I'm still keeping my hands in
I'm not going to be here too much longer.
Whatever it is
I
in
know that for
Massachusetts.
sure.
It's not a pie, that's for sure. Or it's a
Yeah.
kind of pie I wouldn't want to eat. Let me put it that way. So what's going on with Turtleboy right now?
Yeah, he's in jail. He's in jail, Howie. Jail is no fun. He's tough as nails, though. You know, he's going to tough it out. He was an Eagle Scout. You know, he could get by eating bugs and drinking rainwater if he had to, and he will.
Oh, and real quick, you know, from what I've heard too, that people are really like, you know, hip to him in there. They're really supportive of him. Inmates, guards, you know, so he hasn't been getting fucked with, which is good. And a lot of people just really standing behind what he's doing, which is, you know, nice to hear. You know, I wish he wasn't stuck in this stupid fucking situation. You know, it's totally dumb. It's frivolous. It's a waste of time. And you know, he should be out here. He should be out here on the top of the mountain leading everybody right now. But it's nice to hear that, you know, he's not getting fucked with, which is good.
Ironically, Howie, he could walk out of jail tomorrow if he just pled out to these charges, which of course he never would. But they're so paper thin. The allegation, which he absolutely denies, is that in the course of trying to get his personal property back that this person stole from him, that he pushed her and she fell on the couch, seated on the couch, or she bumped into the couch, depending on which story we're going to go with at any given time. And that's the allegation, and that constitutes domestic violence and witness intimidation. So as a guy with no record, he could plead out to this thing tomorrow and walk out of jail on a continuance without a finding, probably with a year probation or something. But of course, he'd never do that. Instead, he's locked up. They say 90 days. We say 60 days. But in any event, we're going in for relief soon to get him out altogether. Yeah, it's
who do you go before? Do you go before this woman who hates him, this judge?
It's not going to happen, Dan. I'm going to tell you right now, it's not going to happen. There's going to have to be a change. There's going to have to be a change. So there'll be a motion filed.
Beverly Canton, or is it
I can tell you that
the
firsthand.
Superior Court, where he seems to get a fairer shake?
Hey, Isaiah, how are you, man?
Yeah,
good to see you, bro.
Howie, I got to say, Judge Canoni, I've had nothing but good experiences with her, and I can't say, you know, from personal experience, what the heck's going on between her and the Reed defense team. But yeah, there's some strange doings over there. But I don't want to show all my cards just yet, but we're looking at a couple different avenues of appealing the Dedham District Court determination revoking the bail. The District Court judge revoked the Superior Court bail and gave him actually a personal recognizance on the District Court bail. So the bail statutes in Massachusetts are extremely convoluted, but we're looking at a couple different avenues to get in front of one or two choices here. I don't want to show all my cards just yet, but we're going to be appealing this thing on First Amendment grounds. We're going to take the whole enchilada. We got the District Court case, the District Court restraining order, and the Superior Court travesty of 16 different indictments that should make every journalist in this state get chills up their spine from that case. That's for sure.
There aren't many journalists left, in case you haven't noticed. I think you have, though.
You know, a lot of the mainstream guys are doing a good job though. Like Ted Daniels doing a good job with this thing. But you're right. There's too many apologists out there. There's too many people who are just like the loyal opposition. Just kind of biting around the heels to try to make it look good. But there's so much more work to be done. There's so much more
Exactly.
journalism.
You're right,
to
Dan.
actually be practiced. And
How
old school
soon?
guys like you,
How
what you call it, muckraking.
Yeah, that's an old phrase like pinko that we were talking about earlier. But yeah, that's what you say. How soon is Turtleboy gonna? What's the best case scenario when he gets out, and what's the worst case scenario?
I agree, Michelle.
So the best case scenario is we get him out in a couple of weeks. The notion is that he's being held on a completely on a faulty foundation of completely unconstitutional charges. And if you look in Superior Court, and this is what I mean when I say the journalists should get a chill up their spine in this state and everywhere, because they are literally citing in the charging documents the same kind of language that you might hear on television when there's a teaser coming for like the 11 o'clock news, when a reporter, gets a bad guy in his driveway and chases him up the driveway and yells at him 10 times.
Here's the thing, Dave. Let me just answer this. He said, I would like to hear about Howie's take on the Fed sitting on their hands. The thing is, you have to understand with the FBI moves slow. Okay. I know this because I'm following a federal case right now of a YouTuber that scammed about $5 million out of people. He took watches, very expensive watches and money, and funded his YouTube experience, and the feds got involved, and he's now nailed on like 15 charges of wire fraud and like 7 charges of mail fraud. Okay, this guy's going down big time. He's going to see big criminal time. He has a past too. But the thing about the feds you have to understand is that they move very, very slow. And if the feds are involved, you best be damn sure they have something. They have something. So they're gonna catch someone. They're gonna report something. That's the thing. And I know people are very impatient about it because we know that there's the federal probe and it's been going a while. And like I said, this guy that I was following, this Anthony Farah, Timepiece Gentleman, it took them almost about a year to get this guy, to finally get all the evidence together to get him. And they usually wait to really nail someone because then they're gonna come out and as I say, is that Dan says the feds don't take things that they can corrupt, they can't win. And the thing is like, I know that it's split 50-50 the way that people think about the feds. There's a lot of people that can say the feds are super corrupt, and then there's a lot of people that say the feds are super good. If the feds can get in and help the Karen Reed case and expose the truth as to what's going on with all this corruption, I'm all for it. 100%. And if that frees Karen Reed and that frees Turtleboy and that brings justice to John O'Keefe, the feds can fucking investigate this all day long. Believe me. Believe me. All right, let's play this.
Did you do it? Did you swindle the old lady or whatever it is? And that literally, that very same conduct that would be in a teaser on television for a news show is stated now as a felony under the witness intimidation statute.
Yeah. The same thing that I used to do routinely when I was in TV news, and that everybody in TV news did back in those days, and still occasionally does.
Exactly. And I when I was reading it, I just couldn't believe what I was reading. I mean, this witness intimidation statute is probably the most egregious example of legislative malpractice to come down in the last 50 years. I mean, the statute's a total abomination. It just flat out ignores the First Amendment. It ignores it. It ignores our state constitution, Article 16 of the Mass Declaration of Rights. That's our state analog to the First Amendment. It's a joke. It creates this super class of citizens called witnesses who have immunity from scrutiny or criticism.
Everything.
It's crazy.
Right. And on the other end, and the thing is, the district attorney has said there are no witnesses, basically. And so now we have this group of people who've been suddenly elevated to the status of witnesses,
right,
even though supposedly they didn't see anything, right?
Right. They want it both ways. They want to have it both ways. And the statute is just such a travesty. It makes it a felony if you threaten emotional or economic injury to a witness. So if I'm being sued, or if I'm the victim of false charges and I get mad and I go on the Howie Carr show and I say that guy's lying about me, I'm going to sue him into the Stone Age for his lies. If he's a witness against me in court, I just committed a felony. I just committed witness intimidation. I'm threatened to sue the guy. And if someone decides they're experiencing emotional injury, all of a sudden I'm a felon because I caused them emotional injury.
Unreal.
Also offering a gift, an offer, or a promise of anything of value. If I buy somebody a cup of coffee, I'm committing a felony. If you mislead them, who's deciding what misleading means?
Right.
Although the SJC did narrow that one a little bit, thank goodness. And also, of course, whoever harasses a witness, and harassment has been narrowed as well. But I predict that we're gonna narrow this statute down to an appropriate level of only if you threaten physical harm to person or property, or utter fighting words. That's the only thing that's going to constitute witness intimidation when we get done with it.
He's in this jail, the Norfolk County House of Correction. My understanding is most of these jails in Massachusetts, because of all the crazy legal decisions and not prosecuting people for these jails are half empty or 2/3 empty. And you got a guy who's a reporter who's in this.
All the drug addicts are walking around. All the rapists and murderers. They're walking around. But this guy had the pen, so we got to stick him behind bars. I mean, if anything, why is he not out on house arrest? It's ridiculous. But we all know what this is. It's to keep Aidan behind bars as long as we can. And if and when this trial of Karen goes to trial, to shut him up and get through the trial and keep this whole process corrupt. That's what it is. That's all.
It's pretty much of an empty jail, isn't it?
Yeah, I have to say though, the sheriff over there and the deputy superintendents have been super.
Right.
Fantastic. They've been reaching out to us and keeping a close eye on him, and they're almost too much. They kind of need to give him a little more freedom and a little more leeway to get outside and get some air. But
no, but I'm just saying that I live in Norfolk County when I'm up there, and it's not like it's a totally crime-free environment, but there's no criminals in the jail other than Turtleboy apparently and a handful of others.
It's
insane.
It's pretty quiet. It's just unbelievable that he's in there for 60 days, we contend, for something that he could plead out for probation. And then the other framework is this completely unconstitutional
Appreciate
set
that.
of statutes.
Thank you.
Set of indictments, rather, that are we're gonna knock them over the green monster. They're going away. It just takes time to get everything into the proper court, and the system does not move quickly. And every day he's suffering irreparable harm. You hear that from lawyers, irreparable harm. He's suffering irreparable harm every day. He can't practice journalism.
Born in Portland, Maine.
His First Amendment rights. He's suffering irreparable harm, and we don't have time to wait for the lawyers and the courts to get their act together. We need to get some immediate emergency relief, and we got to get our ducks in a row to do it. But we're almost there, and we're going to do it very soon.
Tim Bradl, can you hang on for another segment?
Yeah, I'd love to, Howie.
Okay, and we'll open the lines if people want to ask Tim Bradl a question about what's going on with Turtleboy. 844-500-4242. 508 says Turtleboy should say he has COVID and petition for early release.
Yeah, really.
Yeah, some really bad thugs have done that, and some of them have actually gotten out at the federal level. I think at the state level as well. That's a good point. But of course, he's going to be held to a different standard. But we'll be right back with Tim Bradl if you want to ask a question about what's going on with Turtleboy.
Wow. Brian Walsh is in there with Aidan. That's a case that I'm actually going to start getting into. I actually want to start looking back into that, the Brian Walsh case. I think I'm going to be doing that here pretty soon. We're going to start getting some information on that case.
Aidan Kearney.
Wow.
Give us a call, 844-500-4242. I'm Howie Carr.
Leave him. All right, I'm going to fast forward through the commercials.
Yes, I
was successful here.
Do research. Wanting to.
All right, let me go back.
How he's.
And they immediately filled up. Tim, can you stick around a little after the bottom of the hour if we need to? Okay, that's great. So first of all, where could be Turtleboy is not making any money now off his site, or next to nothing. So
Yes,
that's
he
his
is.
main source of income.
We've been helping. We've been helping. Kerry, thank you so much for the 25 on Cash App. I appreciate it. Thank you. We've been helping. I've been helping. Glara helped. Rita helped.
And he's got to pay you.
We're
He's
gonna
got all
we're
kinds
gonna
of
do it
legal
tomorrow night.
expenses, et cetera. His family. Where do people go to contribute to Turtleboy's legal defense fund? Tim Bradl.
Yeah, Howie, he's got a Give Send Go up and running. Everyone.
So court says Aidan said it was chilling to see him in the flesh, walks around with a cocky strut and a smile on his face. Fuck, that's brutal, man. That's wild. Fucking shit. Kerry, thank you so much. I appreciate it. Thank you. Wow, that's crazy.
People are contributing there. He's got a lot of backers, Howie. He's got a lot of people who are intelligent, educated, savvy, connected people that are backing him. You know, I haven't really had to tap into my resources back at the firm. I've been getting inundated with his people wanting to do research, wanting to help out.
Thanks, Court. I
it's
appreciate that.
It's been a good run. He also has a nonprofit in New York called Good Counsel that I'm working with Elizabeth Dombrowski down there. She's an attorney who is focused on this First Amendment civil.
Oh, of course, Chris. I wouldn't miss it for the world.
There's a lot of resources, and you know, in terms of funds, that's different story.
So yeah, I know about the Sandra Birchmore case. Absolutely, something that I wanted to look into. I know the Glare is doing it right now. Yeah, you know, I know what's going on. I know.
Story, of course, that's the Give Send Go. But the people are volunteering, and he's got an amazing following, you know, just like you do. And you know, he's standing up to the man. You know, that's why people like him. His methods can be abrasive, but he's got such a loyal following because, you know, he stands up to the man. He stands up to the bully.
It's got to be so frustrating though to wake up in the morning and you're in that cell and you can't turn on the computer and you can't make your thoughts and your reporting known to your readers and your listeners and your viewers.
Yeah, his people are getting inundated with tips, and you know, we're trying to do the right thing and get this information out there to the real investigators that are out there. You know, he's standing up to the Norfolk County prosecutorial machine. You know, they don't fool around when they, you know, these suburban DAs and these suburban police units, mass state police units that are attached to these DAs offices, they are not used to being challenged. That was one of the first things I noticed when I left the DA's office, and after a while, I started doing defense work and butting heads with these suburban offices. Man,
right?
They are scary. I used to leave the courthouse looking over my shoulder, you know, wondering when am I going to get pulled over. You know, even to this day, whenever I butt heads over there, I'll look on my LinkedIn, and you know how you can see if someone looks you up. I can't tell you how many times I get looked up by a state police guy. You don't know who it is.
Look at who came. You know, you're right. It's not just Norfolk County, Worcester County, all those people that came out of Baker's administration that got into trouble. All the people from Barnstable County who got into trouble later on. You know, you're right. It's quite a mess. It's quite a mess. Go ahead.
It's hard to stand up to these people. You know, when you're a family man, you got a mortgage, you got a law license, you got kids.
I don't think so.
College, you know, I've had colleagues that have been threatened with this witness intimidation statute. You know, ironically, the police.
Got to Mary. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Sometimes use the witness intimidation statute to intimidate us. You try to talk to a complaining witness. You try to send your investigator out. Just that happened on Turtleboy's case, Howie. I sent my investigator, Mark Chiappetta, 30 years in the business, out to talk to this domestic complainant to see what was going on with the case.
Yeah.
He's doing my job. He's doing his job. And I knew it was coming, so I told him to bring a witness. So we sent 2 investigators so there could be witnesses. And sure enough, even though these guys out there with 60 years experience, they're not going to fool around. They tried to talk to the gal, and she didn't want to talk. That's fine. The next thing we know, my guy's detained by some Medfield.
Detained.
Detained. Read him his rights. Told him that he was going to get a summons for witness intimidation.
Wow, we're running out.
Carrie, Detained. You know how I've talked about that before? And I talked about that in the Idaho case with Brian Koberger. And it said detained. And we tried figuring out what the definition of detained was. I think detained, he just said, was held by the cop and read his rights. I think Koberger was held before and possibly put in the back of a police car. What was that, in August or June? Remember that arrest? June or August? Anyway, we'll talk about that after. But I'm starting to think that detained means they got you.
Time for this segment. We got full lines. We'll get to all the calls in the next segment, and we'll do a poll question as well. Tim Bradl, Turtleboy's lawyer, is with us. If you want to contribute to the defense fund, givesendgo.com. That's where it is.
Yep, you're
we'll
right.
be right back with Tim Bradl, Turtleboy's lawyer. I'm Howie Carr.
All right, we'll move past the commercials.
With a rare
And to look as good as I can as well. Make your health
In-stock saves.
the wellness company today. To learn more, go to TW.
Locking him up. Property.
What
Sorry, guys
reads?
and ladies.
When you use code Howie, you save 10%. Taylor, what's the poll question? What are the results thus far?
Today's poll question, which you can still vote in at HowieCarrshow.com, is
Smash
who was
that
most
like
responsible for the Patriots' success? Bill Belichick, Tom Brady, Robert Kraft, or the referees?
Brady.
Brady.
63%
all the way.
say Brady, 26% say Coach Belichick.
The person,
All
no,
right.
the person on the field playing.
42. So before we go to the calls, I want to ask Tim Bradl, did Turtleboy do anything to this woman? He's charged with assault and battery. What really happened that night?
That's the allegation, Howie, and by her own admission, she took his personal property, some papers that he had, and he wanted them back, and he asked her for them back. Her allegation is that he pushed her in trying to get him back, and she sat down on the couch.
She put them down her shirt. I heard the testimony. She put them down her shirt. Why would someone do that? To cause shit. And he said, I would never touch her. I'm not going to touch her. I'm not going to put my hands on her. I heard his testimony. That was the part that I sat in on for the 45 minutes. So she was trying to start shit.
She got pushed onto the couch. That's the allegation that's locking him up for months.
He didn't touch her.
And he absolutely denies it. We know for a fact he didn't.
I heard him testify in court.
He absolutely never touched her, and he's never touched a woman in his life, and he has no record. And like I said, he could plead out tomorrow if he wanted to, just to get out of jail, and he won't do it.
He's had a relationship with this woman, though, correct?
There were some notes that he wrote in a notebook that he had, like his notebook with him, that he does all his journal writing in, or just writing ideas down. She took his notebook and took some stuff and put it down her shirt. And he's like, that's important stuff. I need it. I sat into the testimony. I listened to it.
A 209A relationship as a DA.
Yeah, his notes.
Meaning restraining orders?
No. A 209A relationship, like a romantic dating.
Oh, I see. Okay. I think of it as a restraining order.
Welcome in, everybody. Thanks for hanging out.
Yeah, and well, she did. She sought a restraining order, and everything in this thing is just a raid against Mr. Kearney. They did the ex parte, which, as you know, is just a single hearing without the other side present. They did the ex parte restraining order hearing like an hour before Mr. Kearney came before the court for his arraignment and his bail revocation hearing. So the complainant and the police that are propping her up and bringing her in had a full free shot to smear Aidan in front of the judge right before our arraignment and our revocation hearing.
I know it's like looking backwards now, but shouldn't he have been paying more attention? I mean, he had just won a big victory that day. I know he was on my show that Friday night, and he was taking a victory lap. And then the next day, I start reading these tweets that Turtleboy's in big trouble now. I mean, shouldn't he have just stayed away from her?
Yeah, he should have, and he was told to. but that's another story.
Yep.
But, we have to deal with it, and we're
I
going to
agree.
deal with it.
I mean, I got to agree.
It's a terrible situation. And, you're right. It was a big victory that Friday, and Judge Krupp relieved them of any restrictions whatsoever. And the whole case really, I think, is just brought to impose restrictions on them to keep them away from the Reed people. Yeah, we got rid of those restrictions. And you think he's going to go commit domestic violence and restrict bail revocation, risk bail revocation? 24 hours later? Come on, it's ridiculous. The investigator showed up at her house with a subpoena 2 hours after we got done on Friday. And the whole thing, we contend, was engineered to do just what it did.
To provoke
Very,
him
very
into going over there, you mean?
Yep. It's like a moth to a flame. Hey, I got a grant.
Let me just get the super chat really quick. He says, LTL roll tape of unsilent majority 1222 to find out who killed O'Keefe, framed Karen, and why Blair is too afraid of the truth. A is lying to his subs. Okay. I don't know anything about that. But yeah, send me the video. Let's investigate. Let's investigate.
Grand jury subpoena and come on over. And that's
Thanks for the
exactly
5,
what
by the way. I
what
appreciate
was
it.
done. Text messages saying come over.
Is the
Thank you for
Reed
the
trial still going to
donation.
begin in March, do you think, or not?
Okay, so just to be clear, Howie, I know David Yannetti, and I've spoken with Alan Jackson.
Right. I know you're not involved but I'm just saying as an observer.
Yeah, let me just put on my talking head hat here. I don't have any inside information. I don't want to say like that. But
right.
As a pontificator, I would say that I don't think it's going to go to trial. I think there's just too much that just does not pass the smell test with this case. The phone, the dog,
you can keep sending me money.
Search,
that's
the Ford
fine.
Edge, the plow driver.
Yeah.
It's just insane.
The missing surveillance cameras.
Send me a 50 or 100 or 500. That would be great.
It's just too much. There's too much going on. It's not ready to get off the ground. Like getting a murder trial going is like getting a 747 off the ground. And sometimes there's stops and starts, and I can't imagine it happening. I don't know if it's ever going to happen. I don't know what's going to happen here, but something doesn't pass the smell test to me. I know the feds are investigating. They're going to do a very thorough investigation.
Take a fitty.
People over there have told me.
Well, the people
hey, Rob,
on social media, and I'm going to ask you this too, as a pontificator, but not as a lawyer involved in it. The pontificators on social media are saying that the grand jury that was impaneled, that was investigating this, has now been dismissed. Do you know if that's a fact or not?
I don't know, Howie. I don't know. And, it could be much ado about nothing, or it could be a hurricane that blasts through Norfolk County. I don't know what's going to happen.
If it's not in print yet.
Maybe they're ready to do something. I hope that whatever information they've gathered will distill over to the defense team. I hope it's not a Trump laptop situation or a Hunter Biden laptop situation, where they sit on it.
Right.
I don't think they will. Those guys sound very cognizant of everything that's going on, and they're not going to let Karen Reed, flap in the wind on this thing. I think if they have information, the defense team is going to have it before the trial date, and it's probably going to blow the thing up, either through charges or a continuance, or it's just going to make the case unprosecutable.
Yeah, I mean, they can't get cases when they have witnesses to police being murdered. They can't get a conviction in Norfolk County. I mean, how are they going to get a conviction on this case?
Yeah. There's so much. I've spoken to so many attorneys about it, and everyone is saying that the reasonable doubt is just
right.
Boatloads of reasonable doubt here.
So much reasonable doubt.
There's just nothing really in their favor that I can see. Honestly, talk about.
So here's a point that I made today. I put out a tweet today and really had to think about it and put that out. And I was wrong on some of the things in it, and I got kind of corrected, and that's fine. But the thing that always sticks with me is how they tow Karen's car or SUV from Dighton back to Canton. Why is it going to Canton? If the Mass State Police are involved, why is it not going to the Mass State Police? Why is it getting towed back to Canton? So it gets towed back to Canton, and then they say, oh, we found all this glass that was embedded in the bumper. We found, how the hell we found all these little pieces of glass? How would you, how is that possible? If you're taking an SUV and you're driving it in the winter weather, you're loading it on a tow truck, and I'm going to talk about this on Saturday night. You're loading it on a tow truck in the winter weather, and you're towing it back on a flatbed that's bouncing around all over the place. You know, I've seen them. You're driving down the highway, things are bouncing all over the place. And then it gets to the Canton Police Department, and there's sprinkles of glass everywhere and tail light on this car. How? It's impossible. It's impossible. And then they say that Proctor says the tail light shattered, but we clearly see when Karen leaves John O'Keefe's house and backs up and cracks her tail light, that her tail light was cracked. It wasn't fucking shattered. And I'm going to talk about that on Saturday, because that video, I have done an extreme deep dive into that video, and you're going to be surprised what I come up with, and you're going to be like, holy shit. So Saturday night show is going to be a good one, because that's the video that just really gets it for me. And I have a real problem. You know, I have a problem with what the Commonwealth is trying to say. It does not match up. 1,000%. It doesn't match up. And again, I'm going to get into a deeper dive on that on Saturday. It's going to be Saturday's show. I call it the shattered taillight, the shattered taillight show. All right, let's play out Howie here.
About prosecutorial overreach, Howie. How the heck do you indict this
It's
lady
such bullshit
for murder? I mean, what?
And by the way, you have a dead, according to the Commonwealth, murdered police officer. Why does it take almost 3 days for the Mass State Police Crime Lab to show up in Canton to do their evidence collection? 3 fucking days. Gee, I wonder what happened between those 3 days. Smash a little tail light, sprinkle it a little around, put some over there, bring it over there, over here, over there, over there. But Saturday night, we'll get more into that.
That all about? Even if you believe their account that this is a unfortunate incident of, you know, backing into the poor guy
after
how
drinking
do you
all
get
night.
murder out of that?
Right. I know.
It's horrifying.
It's like involuntary
overreach is
manslaughter
shocking.
or voluntary manslaughter, maybe. Let's take a few calls with Tim Bradl. He's the lawyer for Aidan Kearney, aka Turtleboy. And if you want to contribute to the fund, it's givesendgo.com, givesendgo.com. Peter, you're next with Howie Carr and Tim Bradl.
Yes.
Go ahead, Peter.
The fairy dust.
Great, thanks. Yeah, I'm DA Morrissey's neighbor out here in Squantum, Mass. So my question to you.
Yeah, you know, that's the thing though too. And again, I'll get into this on Saturday. I don't think people realize how thick the plastic is on those. I'm gonna tell you, I'm actually gonna buy one. I'm actually gonna buy one, and I'm gonna try to destroy it. And I'm gonna bet you it's a lot harder than you think, because. And I'm gonna get more into this on Saturday. I want to get through this stream tonight, and Saturday we're really gonna get into it. But I'm thinking about actually buying one. And we're going to smash it and see how hard it takes to actually smash one of those lights. A lot harder than you think.
Hey, Tim, thanks for doing this. Exactly, it's a two-part question. I know that you had a lot of good information.
Oh, I'm going to definitely record it. I'm going to put it through its paces. I'm going to do some tests on it. And we'll see how. I wish I could get a pressure gauge to find out how many pounds of pressure it actually takes to pop that in or break it or crack it. We'll figure something out. I'm going to do some experiment with it. Yeah, exactly. Wrights has it. Soft flesh is not going to smash a fucking taillight. There's no way. There's no fucking way. I'm telling you. It's the biggest bullshit fucking thing out of this whole thing.
An A hearing. But what do you need to do in order to get Turtleboy out? Do you have to go back to the district court first to get the domestic violence charges dropped, and then go back to the Superior Court? And
cheapest one I saw was on eBay for like $200. I'm thinking about spending the money and getting it.
Have you know, him released from the charges on bail by getting arrested?
There's a couple avenues, Peter. We're sort of evaluating our options on that.
Excuse me.
We're not quite sure yet. We're researching a couple different things, but
exactly.
there are a few different avenues in terms of approaching the state Supreme Judicial Court. There's a couple vehicles that you have to use to get there, figuratively speaking. There's a 211.3 appeal. There's a Chapter 248 writ of habeas corpus. There's a bail appeal.
Here you
There's
go,
all
Mark.
sorts of things like that. However, a bail revocation,
Buy me a tail light.
that happened to Turtleboy here, is the one thing that you can't use a bail appeal to get relief on. So the bail statutes are very convoluted. We're assessing our options, whether we go to the SJC, whether we go to Superior Court on a writ of habeas corpus. We have all kinds of options. We're just
I'd
trying to do
appreciate
the
that.
right
Reach
one,
out to me.
the one that's going to get him the quickest.
Email me.
relief.
But I've had my own problems with the Massachusetts judicial system, Tim, and he can't expect to be treated fairly. Very few people can expect to be treated fairly in this situation. I mean, what does Turtleboy think about this? I mean, is he saying, "Get me the hell out of here as soon as possible," or is he stoic?
You know what? Howie, he's been terrific. He's stoic. He's trying to leave me alone. He's trying to, I told one of our paralegals, Courtney, the other day, I'm going to go in a hole and I'm not going to come out until he has a masterpiece for the appellate court. And we're going to write it up. He's had a tough shake in the trial court,
Yeah.
But I think that I was talking to a very experienced attorney today, and he thinks that the SJC is a First Amendment court, they are strong on the First Amendment, and they're not great on other stuff, but they're strong on the First Amendment. And I think they're going to really appreciate that he is suffering irreparable harm every single day. He can't practice journalism. He can't practice his First Amendment rights. Even in the restraining order, he was prohibited from disseminating confidential documents and court documents. Another insanely overbroad prior restraint, blatantly unconstitutional. We couldn't disseminate documents that any person could walk off the street and go into the Dedham clerk's office and access and disseminate anywhere they want. We couldn't disseminate them under this ridiculous provision in the restraining order.
And they
So
were
tap that
chilling.
too.
They were chilling his sources when the state police took his phones away that day. I got calls from a couple of people that had talked to me, and I'd passed their information on to Turtleboy because I couldn't get the Herald interested in it. And they were concerned. They were worried. They were terrified that, and I hadn't shared anything. But I mean, this had repercussions. It's going to have repercussions down the road. It's going to be harder for him to get sources in the future because of this.
Absolutely. They're destroying his livelihood. They took the tools of his trade. They still have them. They wouldn't give us a copy of them back in district court. We're going to revisit that very soon. Think of all the stories that Turtleboy's done back to the Turtleboy Sports days, when that was the name of the site. He has police sources. He has private sources, confidential sources in there. Thank God we got the screening team appointed in terms of, the DA's office. To their credit, I will give the special DA credit on this one point. They did, once I put the law in their lap anyway, they realized that they can't go through that phone until they get a screening team appointed to avoid any attorney-client privilege material, First Amendment journalist privilege material, and they have to go through a taint team, a screening team for that, where a third-party mediator-type person, usually a retired judge, will go through the phone and keep from investigators all of these privileged materials.
And think about this. I mean, think about the crimes that are committed on a daily basis in Massachusetts by people, hit and runs, for instance. And they're just they're brought into court and they're let go on personal recognizance. and where people have been injured or could have been killed. And I'm just picking that as one example. And look what they're doing to Turtleboy compared to somebody like that.
It's a completely different playing field when it comes to Turtleboy. They're giving him no quarter, and we got to fight for every little thing. Even when we got the restriction lifted that he couldn't go into the courtroom for the Reed case, Judge Krupp spent 18 pages trashing him and his methods, saying he wasn't a real journalist. The last 4 pages, we got 75% of what we wanted, and the media was portraying it like we lost. And it's unbelievable. Yeah, it's tough. It's tough to get a leg up, but we will. We're not going to give up, and he's certainly not going to give up. And Turtleboy's going to be back. He's going to be out there. And I think he's going to be knocking on your door, Howie. He wants to be a guest host for you one of these days. How about that?
We'll see how it works out. TBDailyNews.com. You could read up on some of this stuff, and we'll be back and let Tim Bradl wrap it up here in just a moment. I'm sorry we haven't taken more calls, but there's just a lot of stuff to get to. And if you want to know more about the most recent developments, you can go to TBDailyNews.com right now. And
Thanks for the
read
dollar.
story.
Thanks for the dollar.
They lay out a
Appreciate
lot
it.
of the stuff that the issues
you
that
for the
we haven't
dollar.
gotten to here involving the latest problem that got Turtleboy locked up in Dedham. All right, we'll be right back with Tim
All right,
Bradl.
let's fast forward
the
here.
Not showing up.
Finish it up.
Lost 8 radio. Always be
On Yemen's Houthis.
okay. U.S. and U.K. Okay.
Business insurance could save. Taking away Austin, where the band this day.
Hi there. It's at interest from Localist of the.
A lot of time left, and I'm sorry I haven't gotten to more callers, and we still got some people hanging on. And I'll try to get to 1 or 2 more callers before the end of the segment. But I want to let Tim Bradl, Turtleboy's lawyer, make any final points that he would like to get across, and where people can go to learn more about Turtleboy's case as he remains incarcerated in the Norfolk County House of Correction. Tim, go ahead.
Thanks, Howie. So he's on Facebook. He's on
YouTube.
YouTube. You can't miss him. He's a master at getting the word out. His people are doing it right now while he's otherwise
Indisposed.
occupied. Indisposed. Thank you. And he's buoyed by all your support in particular. His turtle riders. Everyone is patriots, and they've been working together with us. It's been really inspiring, and we're going to get on the right side of this thing. We're going to get to the right court. We're going to get in front of the right judge, and we're going to get the right result.
This is terrible. This could have happened to me in the past, and it could happen again. I mean,
Exactly.
it could happen to anybody who tries to cross the man, for lack of a better term.
Yeah. Absolutely. I tell these journalists, there's a pack of journalists outside of the court every time. I joke around with them. I say, you guys should put down those microphones and pick up a sign and protest what they're doing here, because you're next. And they have been next. Have you heard of the Canton 9? It's
right.
The 9 protesters, the Free Karen Reed people. They were picketing peacefully in the town square of all places, and in Canton, and they were all arrested or summoned and charged with picketing in or near the location of a witness. That's another insanely overbroad statute. Picketing in or near a building where a witness or a judge or juror works or may be found. It's the most ridiculous.
This whole witness thing really bugs me. I mean, they kept saying there are no witnesses. There are no witnesses. Nobody saw this, right? And then all of a sudden, hey, he's intimidating witnesses.
Right. Yeah.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. And then all of a sudden, there's all these witnesses.
Statute's we're gonna cut that thing down to size. I guarantee it. It's just it's got to go. And I remember I was a young lawyer when that statute was passed, and it's just I said to myself, wow, how is this going to work? How can you not? What if you threaten economic harm or emotional injury or mislead someone? The cops get to decide if they've been misled. You can't say to somebody, hey, I'll pay for your lawyer. It's just unbelievable. It's way too broad. We're going to rein it in, and I'm confident our SJC will do it. If we have to do this in Boston at the SJC or in Washington, D.C. at the Supreme Court, we will. We're not going to give up, and we're not going to stop.
Okay, you can go to givesendgo.com if you want to contribute and read up on the case, tbdailynews.com. Sorry we couldn't get to more calls again. Tim Bradl, thanks for being with us. We appreciate it. We'll have you on again. Best keep tell Turtle.
All right, that's it. All right, sweet. I just wanted to do that. I know it's well worth listening to. Hopefully, we can get Aidan out in a couple weeks. I just want to direct some attention before everybody takes off for the evening, because I'm going to end the stream here in a second. Tomorrow night, I would appreciate it. I've been asked to be a guest host again on Turtleboy Live. I'm going to drop that link there. Tomorrow, I will be playing kind of a watch party. This is such a great thumbnail. I'll be doing a watch party on Turtleboy's channel, and we're going to watch Framed. And I'll probably pull up a couple of his other clips. Maybe we'll get some Janetti stuff in there. I don't know. I'll figure something out. But it's a huge honor and to be asked to do that. And I really do appreciate it. And it's cool. It's cool to go over and just help. And the purpose of the stream tomorrow is to drive more donations to his defense fund. So that will be tomorrow live at 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I really hope that everybody can join us over there. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. Again, I'll just be hosting, sitting back, kind of let the movie play through, and just trying to help drive donations to his defense fund. So again, if any of his team is watching, thank you so much. Thank you, Aidan, for trusting me to do that and rubber stamping that and saying, yeah, let him do it. So we're going to try to do that like once a week over on his channel and just help drive donations to his defense fund. So I think it's going to be a really fun time doing that. And I'm really honored to do that. Oh, by the way, if you haven't seen this, I urge everybody to go watch. I've interviewed Turtleboy before, and if you haven't seen it, I'll drop the link to that as well. And I would appreciate if everybody can go over and watch that stream at some point. That would be awesome. And get that rolling in the algorithm again. I would appreciate it. And that was back on, how long ago? 2 months ago, October 18th. I would appreciate that. So, yeah, I mean, it's been an interesting, fun ride thus far. It's funny how things twist, turn, and morph into newer things and opportunities. And I've been in touch with a lot of fantastic people. I've been in touch with a lot of people that have put a lot of trust in me, and I appreciate that because I put a lot of trust in them. And it's been a fun ride so far. I'm honored to help. I'm really honored to help. And I don't want anything out of it. I just want to help. That's it. That's all I want to do is just help out. Help Aidan, help Karen Reed, help push this movement forward, find justice for John O'Keefe and the Canton Nine, because that's the most important things right now. And all of you're all important as well, too, because you are the voices, you are the messengers. And keep spreading the information, keep getting it out there. Use your social media accounts. Don't be afraid of the trolls. Ignore them. Keep pushing forward. Don't let anybody shut you down. There's your First Amendment right to talk about this stuff. We need to get it out there. We need to get to the forefront, and don't let anybody shut you down. You have that right. You have the power of the pen. Power of the pen is very, very strong. And obviously we're seeing it. Look what the power of the pen is doing here in the Free Karen Reed movement. So, that'll be it. I think we're going to wrap this one up. I have a very busy day tomorrow. I'm sure everybody does too. It's late. It's almost 10:30 here. And I will see you all tomorrow night at 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Turtleboy Live. And then I'll be back here live on my channel on Saturday night to cover the shattered taillight. And I will, and when I say shattered, I mean shattered taillight. And I'll drop the link for that. Set your reminders on that one as well. I would appreciate it. And tomorrow I will see everybody at 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Everybody have an awesome night. Thank you for being here on this late live. I'll talk to y'all soon. Bye-bye.